The daily challenge today is called Snail Sort. And the idea is that we have an array of numbers here, and we want to return a special sorted version of that. And it's best depicted by this picture. What we want to do is start in this corner and go around the outside, curving in, and that's the order that we want to return. And so this is actually pretty tricky, but they give us some really good test cases here. So let's get started. We have this test case, and this is what we'll use to figure out how we're going to solve this. So we know we want a method called Snail, and that's going to take an array. Okay, and then we're going to start up here, go this way. Then we have to go down each of the rows, go backwards across this row, go up each of the rows, and then we have whatever's left over. And so my idea is that we're going to do the outside perimeter, and then recurse over the inside, and then recurse over the inside again, and just keep going. Okay, so I think there's probably a few ways to do this, but I know that if we start on the outside here and go down this side, this way, and this way, then we'll at least be getting partially there. So let's start with the array that we pass in. We're going to return the first row just as it is. And then we're going to return going down. We'll do that in a minute. Then we're going to return going backwards. And to get that, we want the last row here, and we're going to reverse it. So we're going to take our array, which is our 2D array, get the last one with array.length -1. So that's the last row here. And then we're going to reverse it. And I know from experimenting that if there's only one row in the array, so like we're down to the last element, then we just want to return blank. So we only want to do this if the array.length is greater than 1. And otherwise, we just want to return empty. Okay, and then we're going to take the rows going up here. So let's fill those in. We want just the middle rows here, so we can do array.slice, and we want to go from that first row down to the last, just before the last row, so array.length -1. And we want to return all of, in the first case, these last values here. So this is going to return each row, and to return the last values, we can do row at row.length -1. And then we want almost the same thing for here, except we need to go backwards. So we need to put a reverse in here. And then we only want the first element of each of those arrays. Okay. Now we should have this top one, this last row, or last column, this last row, and then this first column. And now we need to recurse on the middle part. So let's calculate the middle part first. So we'll call that middle. And that's the array, and it's just the middle rows. So we can slice after the first one and before the last one. So length -1. And then we want to return the rows, but only the middle parts of the rows. So we're going to map over each row. And we can return the middle part of the row. So that's the same as the middle part of the columns. Except it's row.length -1 here. Okay, so that should just be the middle. And so after these things, we want to recurse over the middle part. So if the middle has a length, so if it's greater than 0, then we want to return the snail of that middle part. Otherwise, we can just return empty. And this is going to give us a nested array. So let's just flatten that right at the end. Okay, now let's check this out. This might be exactly what we want. Let's copy this here and paste it here. And we can console.log this. And run it. All right, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way counting up. So 1 through 7. Still counting, and let's make sure that we don't have any duplicates, and that looks good. Okay, we can also try some of their other test cases. The empty case, that's important to try. So let's do that one. Oh, and we have a bug. Oh, just because I had an extra parenthesis there. There we go. Empty array. And this is the bug. This is the case here that I used earlier. Same thing. There we go. And I didn't have this array length greater than 1. So if you don't have that, then what happens is you start duplicating elements. And so we know we have to add the check in there. And so once we have the check, it goes back to normal. Okay, that's it for this one. This was pretty tricky because there's lots to do here. And there's probably almost certainly a better way to do this. So if you have a good idea, then tell me in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.